Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified whenever I come out with new content. All right, my love. So, this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of September 16th through September 22nd, 2024. I hope that you all are doing well. Hello to everyone in the chat. If you're joining me live, say hi on your way in and hit that like button, please and thank you. And if you are joining me on the replay, I appreciate you. If you find everything that you're looking for in this broadcast, definitely hit that like button, subscribe button, and that notification bell if you haven't already. All right, so I don't know if you caught my live last week. Hopefully you did. But, I said that there wasn't that much going on last week. It was almost like the calm before the storm, right? There wasn't that much cosmic activity. Anything that was going on wasn't too major, was actually pretty pleasant. Pretty pleasant. This week, whole different beast, whole different animal. We've got a lot going on this week, but the star of the show is the full moon lunar eclipse that's going down in the sign of Pisces tomorrow. All right. That is a whole big deal. I did a whole video on it. If you haven't seen it already, after this broadcast, definitely check it out. The link will be in the description box below. All right. So there's a lot going on this week. Not just do we have a lunar eclipse, but Virgo season is sadly coming to an end, and we will be moving into Libra season. Plus, Venus is changing signs, and this is gonna be. I'm like very tongue tied today. This is gonna be a week, perhaps, where you feel like you're being pulled in two different directions. There's going to be a lot of extremes that are going to be highlighted this week, and anytime we experience extremes, it's really a call to find more balance in our lives. And this is really interesting and kind of funny because we're about to enter Libra season, and Libra is all about balance. And so this week leading into Libra season is like, all right, so since Libra is all about balance, the universe is like, let me show you where things in your life are a little out of whack, are unbalanced, where you're either living in extremes, where you need to find middle ground someplace. So it's going to be an interesting week nonetheless. All right. But like I said, the star of the show is the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and that is a whole thing. All right. But before I get into all of those details, I just want to mention that on Wednesday, I will be hosting the first live free workshop on how to read your natal chart. It is called Your Cosmic Selfie, an intro to your natal chart. This is an overview and an introduction to your natal chart. I'll show you the most important and the most interesting parts of your chart so you can get a little more acclimated, get to know yourself a little better, and really start to be able to read and understand your natal chart. All right. So I do these workshops every 2 weeks, and I'm kicking things off on Wednesday, right? This is going to be the first in a whole, bunch of these, and they're absolutely free. If you are interested, the link will be in the description box below and tagged to the video. I highly suggest that even if you're somewhat familiar with your natal chart, you'll definitely want to tap in. Number one, because it's free. Number two, even if you can't make it live, you will get the recording afterward. But it shows you like little tidbits of things that are really interesting because your natal chart is a black hole of information. There's so much that you can gain from it. And so when we pinpoint the parts that are sort of easy to digest and fun and interesting to learn, it sort of gets your mind going, gets the wheels turning so that you can move into more advanced topics when it comes to your natal chart. All right. So this is going down. First one is Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely sign up if you haven't already. All right. So let's talk the week. Yeah. So there's a lot. If I haven't said that already, but yes. So, first, of course, we start with the highlights. So, first, we have what I like to call sneak peek, and this is the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, I call it sneak peek because by way of an astrology lesson, the eclipses always happen at the north and the south nodes, but currently the north node is in Aries and the south node is in Libra. But next year, the north node will move into Pisces and the south node will move into Virgo. And so the fact that this eclipse is happening in Pisces is a preview of what we can expect over the next year, year and a half. All right. So it's a sneak peek into the next 18 months. All right. And so this eclipse is all about wrapping things up. It's about one door closing and another opening almost simultaneously. So it's pretty big deal, but I'll get more into that later. Then next we have what I like to call balance and equity, and this is the sun moving into Libra, heralding Libra season. So Libra season, all about finding balance. But most importantly, Libra season is about relationships, how we relate to people, particularly how we communicate with people, being that Libra is an air sign. All right. So we're about to switch energies and switch focus come Sunday. And that same day, we have what I like to call soul deep. And this is Venus moving into Scorpio. This is intense. It's going to be interesting and it's going to get real. Things are about to get really real when it comes to relationships and when it comes to money. All right. Venus in Scorpio does not play around. All right. And that just skims the surface with respect to what we've got going on for the week. All right. So this is what our week is looking like. Looks kind of crazy, right? But we'll dissect it bit by bit. So for the week of September 16th, this is what we have on the menu. First, we've got Venus opposite Chiron, Mars square the North Node, full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Thereafter, we have Mercury opposite Saturn, Sun trine Uranus, Sun opposite Neptune, Mercury square Jupiter. Then we've got the Sun entering Libra, Venus entering Scorpio, and the Sun trine Pluto. And last but not least, Venus square Pluto. All right. So it seems a lot more than what actually, I'm not even going to lie to you. It is a lot. So we'll just take it step by step. And then in terms of the lunar phases this week, we start off with the waxing gibbous moon in Pisces. Thereafter, we move into the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Then later on in the week, the moon will move to the waning gibbous phase where it will hang out in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into the week and see what we got. And of course, we start off with Monday today. So today we've got Venus opposite Chiron, Mars square the North Node, and Moon in Pisces. Let's take a look at what this looks like on the chart. All right. So this is what we've got going on for today. On the left-hand side of the chart, you will see Venus at 22 degrees of Libra. All the way across from that, on the right-hand portion of the chart, you will see Chiron's, that green little key, is at 22 degrees of Aries. Thereafter, I want you to look at the very top of the chart. That red guy is Mars, and that is at, I believe, 6 degrees of Cancer. Okay. And if you look at the right-hand side of the chart, that horseshoe-looking thing is the North Node at 6 degrees of Aries. And then finally, at the bottom of the chart, you will see the moon will be at 2 degrees of Pisces. All right, so let's discuss. Oh, I love it when that happens. How cute is that? Right. Okay. So first up, what I will say about the energy of today with Venus opposite Chiron and Mars square the North Node, there is this underlying energy of wanting to take action. You've got the North Node and Chiron in Aries. So there is this push or there's this motivation. And it may not even be a motivation that you're all the way conscious of. It could be this subconscious drive, this desire to not only heal, but to also get into alignment with what's meant for you. Anytime we talk about the North Node, we're talking about our destiny, okay? And so it's like you're almost in a hurry to get to where you need to be. You have this definitiveness of purpose. You have this drive to, fulfill this purpose. And you're very driven, motivated, you almost feel like you're being pushed in a way, but it feels good, right? However, with Mars opposite Chiron with Venus opposite Chiron and then Mars square the North Node, it's almost like this motivation, this forward momentum, this desire to take action is being thwarted in a way. Okay. So, first, let's talk about Venus opposite Chiron. So, Chiron in Aries is like, I want to heal my shit. Like, I want to get my life together. I realize that, I'm on the spiritual journey. I realize that there are things that either insecure about or emotional baggage or wounds that are really sort of standing in the way of me moving forward. And I want to heal them, right? I'm proactive about healing them. With Venus opposite Chiron and Venus currently in its home sign of Libra, this desire, this forward momentum to heal could be obstructed by certain relationships. Okay, perfect example. Let's say you're a little overweight, right? Or maybe you're a lot overweight. However, you have a partner that loves your size. Okay, they're not necessarily concerned about your health. They like you big, they like you thick, they like you chunky, okay? However, you are like, listen, I need to get some of this weight off for health reasons, for aesthetic reasons, whatever. And you start going to the gym, you start eating healthy. And now it's like your partner is giving you shade, or your partner isn't treating you the same way. Your partner is like dissatisfied with your desire to want to lose weight, right? Now, that's just obviously an example. However, this can translate to a lot of different situations. Think about it this way, right? Misery loves company. So many people trauma bond. So many people get together over shared shitty experiences, right? But the minute that you start ascending, the minute that you decide and act on getting out of that misery boat, have you ever noticed how those people treat you or what they say to you or about you, right? So it's like this seesaw. On the one hand, you have this relationship or maybe even these people who you are bonded with. And on the other extreme of the seesaw, you have the desire to change, to heal, to address your wounds. And finding a happy medium between the two can be challenging. Okay, so that's sort of the first way that, the energy of today is playing out and how this forward momentum is being met with resistance. Now let's move on to Mars square North Node. So again, North Node in Aries, it's like, listen, I've got some place to go, someplace to be, right? And I'm motivated to get there. Actually, I'm trying to find the fastest route there. Okay. And then Mars in Cancer is like, oh gosh, but I don't feel like it today. Oh, my intuition is telling me something's off. Or damn, like I'm feeling so many things. Like Mars in Cancer is very uncomfortable and it also slows down that momentum. I think I mentioned this last week, right? So Mars in Cancer is like, I want to go forward, but now's not the right time, or I don't feel well, or, 1 minute you want it, the next minute you don't. It's this moodiness, right? And so again, there's this desire to heal, which is being, obstructed by these relationships. And there's this desire to move forward toward your destiny, towards your destined path, and perhaps not feeling like it or not feeling as motivated as you need to be to take those action steps. So, what can you do exactly when it comes to this? Like, how can you get over this? Well, understanding and knowing that this is even the case is the first step, right? Like understanding that, hey, maybe this relationship is holding me back a little bit from healing. Or maybe I need to be a little more proactive when it comes to these action steps that I need to take toward my destiny, my life purpose, my soul's mission, whatever it is, right? It's being conscious of it and then being intentional about overcoming those obstacles or fighting past that resistance that's going to make the difference between sitting on your ass and doing nothing and actually taking action. All right. So that's how we start off the week. And then we've got the moon in Pisces, so the eclipse is tomorrow. However, the moon is in Pisces tonight and it's in the waxing gibbous phase. So it's like we're almost at that finish line. Whenever the moon is in the waxing gibbous phase, it's like the finish line is right in front of you. And if you've ever ran track before, you know that when you near the finish line, that is when you power through. That's not when you slow down. And so this is the time when we're powering through. And this definitely bodes well with what I was just saying, right? Like you're being met with resistance right now. And so that moon in Pisces is like, all right, you kind of have to muster that strength from within and power through to finish because Pisces is all about wrapping things up. Okay. And that's definitely a good segue into tomorrow, just Tuesday, because we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, right? The only thing we have going on tomorrow, and this is what it looks like on the chart. So at the upper left hand portion, you will see Pisces is at 25 degrees. I'm not sorry. The moon is at 25 degrees of Pisces. And directly across the chart, you will see the sun at 25 degrees of Virgo. All right. And take notice that the moon and Neptune are right next to each other. Okay. And this is really important because Neptune kind of plays a major part in this eclipse. So a lunar eclipse is like a full moon on steroids, where a full moon is a flashlight, a lunar eclipse is like a floodlight. It is an erratic time with erratic energy when things likely will get eclipsed out of your life. Whatever's not serving you, whatever is not in alignment with where you are supposed to go, will likely be eradicated. And because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, there's this energy of wrapping things up. Now, I speak a lot about Pisces energy being like gestation, right? Like the baby gestating in the mother's womb. Pisces being water is like the fetus being in the amniotic sac, right? And it's in this darkness, in this wetness where we develop. It's developing. And this is like the last stage of the third trimester. And this energy, the energy of this eclipse goes back to 2016. So it's sort of wrapping up a cycle that likely began in 2016. And if you take the time to really sit and think about it, I'm pretty sure that your life is remarkably different than it was back then. And that circle is coming to a close. That cycle is coming to an end. And we're getting ready for a serious rebirth, which we're actually going to have at the new moon solar eclipse in Libra in 2 weeks, right? So we are really in the midst of eclipse season, okay? So things are wrapping up right now, but understand that as one door closes, another opens almost immediately. And the thing with Pisces is Pisces feels things. Pisces intuition is top tier. So whatever's ending, your intuition likely has alerted you to this. I highly doubt that this is going to be some sort of a surprise. Right. It may be surprising because, maybe you didn't expect it to end right now, but the expectation of ending has likely inherently been within you for quite some time. You've known that this cycle had to come to an end at a certain point, and now is that point in time when it is ending. Okay. Um, but this is also the time where you can use your imagination to conjure up a new reality, right? Because like I said, one door is closing, another is opening. So with this door opening, what do you want to walk into? What do you want your future to be like? You have the ability to really conjure that up right now. So it's really imperative that whatever is ending, stopping, leaving, disintegrating, whatever it is, let it. Trying to hold on to something that is ending is like trying to hold on to a building that's being demolished. It's not going to serve you and it's going to get demolished anyway, right? So I'm not going to get too much into it now because I did a whole video on it. Again, if you would like to see that video and you haven't already, link is in the description box below. Also, because we are in the midst of eclipse season, my books are open for eclipse readings. I look at your chart and the transits and see exactly how this eclipse season is going to play out for you. If you're interested in that, it's short, sweet, to the point. I think it's like $60. The link will be in the description box below and also tagged to the video. All right. So that is Tuesday. Let us move on to Wednesday and see exactly what we've got going on for Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we've got Mercury opposite Saturn, and then the moon will move into Aries. Okay. And on the chart, this is what that looks like. So at the top of the chart, you will see Mercury at 15 degrees of Virgo. At the very opposite end, you will see Saturn at 15 degrees of Pisces. And you'll also see the moon at 0 degrees or however many degrees, 5 degrees of Aries. Okay. So again, that seesaw kind of energy where we've got Mercury on one end and Saturn on the other. Now, Mercury is currently in Virgo. It's home sign of Virgo. So that energy of Mercury is very potent. And so Mercury in Virgo is really about organization and it's about analyzing data. Virgo is very like evidentiary. Virgo takes everything from its environment, processes it, and, really relies on reality and evidence. Okay. That's on the one end. On the opposite extreme, we've got Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn in Pisces is like dreams and illusions and sort of giving structure and meaning and form to your imagination. Okay, so this will feel like this dichotomy is going to feel like, on the one end, relying on what you see, relying on your five senses to make sense of things on the one end, and on the other end, giving form to what is unseen, namely your imagination. So, when I talk about manifestation, and if you're someone who's really into manifestation, you'll know that anything that happens in the 3D is merely just a projection of your subconscious. And there's a delay in that as well. And so, whatever you're seeing in your reality is really the past. Okay. And it's just past thoughts that are playing out in your reality. But because it is our reality, uh, because we are human beings having a human experience, even though we are spiritual beings as well, we rely on the 3D. We rely on what we can see, touch, hear, what we believe and perceive to be real. However, you can't always do that. It's not necessarily to your benefit to always do that, because you are creating your reality. And so you have to give time and intentionality to your dreams, to your imagination. And we're at a point in time where our imagination is literally crystallizing into our 3D. Like, because Saturn is in Pisces, this is dreams literally becoming reality. So do not neglect your dreams, but also be a little realistic. This is one of those transits where you definitely have to find a happy medium. And doing so will probably make you feel a lot more grounded, and like things would just make more sense, if that makes sense. All right. But be real, but use your imagination, point blank, period. All right. And then we have the moon moving into Aries, and this is the waning gibbous phase. So whenever the moon is in Aries, we are action oriented. We want to take action. Taking action towards the things that we desire is really our thing. Now, because the moon has moved past the full moon and the eclipse phase, when the moon is in the waning phase, it's about divesting ourselves of what we no longer need. And so, whenever the moon is in Aries in the waning phase, this is the optimal time to take action to remove the things that no longer serve you. And essentially, what no longer serves you is whatever you're not passionate about, right? Aries sets a target, right, with a bullseye, and Aries can only see that bullseye. Aries doesn't want anything else. Aries very much has a one-track mind. So anything that is not in alignment with that bullseye, with that target, you don't need it right now. Or at least you don't need to give your attention to it right now. That's the best use of the energy when the moon is waning in the sign of Aries, all right? And so that is Wednesday. Let's move on to Thursday. Let's see what we got going on. So, Thursday, we've got a nice little transit here. We've got the Sun trine Uranus. Okay. And so, on the chart, at the top of the chart, you will see the Sun at 27 degrees of Virgo. At the bottom right hand portion of the chart, you will see Uranus at 27 degrees of Taurus. All right. So, both of these planets are in Earth signs. So this is very much about being grounded, being real, being stable and secure, right? Now, Sun trine Uranus, I typically like this transit, although it can be a little nerve wracking, but in a good way. So, anytime we're talking about Uranus, we're talking about surprises, sudden changes. We're talking about things kind of just happening, right? Now, Sun trine Uranus, this either can give you perhaps sudden or unexpected opportunities to be a leader, to really express yourself, to shine essentially. It's almost like, you know what they're showing me right now, which is super interesting. And I may be dating myself, but whatever. The Price is Right, right? And you know how contestants are picked out of the audience and they don't know that they're going to get picked. Like everyone puts their name in, and then all of a sudden you hear your name and you get to run up to the podium, and then you get the chance to win all of this money and all of these prizes. That's exactly the energy of Sun trine Uranus. Expect the unexpected, but in a good way. Now, the only way that this can feel a little nerve wracking is if you're someone who doesn't necessarily want to shine right now. You might be someone who wants to stay in the shadow. You might have some insecurities with respect to expressing yourself or expressing yourself authentically. It's literally like being shoved into the spotlight. But also, because both the Sun and Uranus are in Earth signs, it's in a very practical sort of way, right? This could be with relation to work, most likely. This could be in relation to your daily routine. You could be singled out for something at work, right? And again, it may sort of require you to step into a leadership role for people to follow you. It could be, surprise recognition for something. Expect the unexpected, but in a good way. And the best way to take advantage of this energy is to be authentically you. Nothing is worse than being thrust into the spotlight and being fake, because people can sniff that out a mile away. And it's sort of like you're squandering your opportunity, because anytime that we shine authentically as we are, it creates so many opportunities that are in alignment. Remember, I said before when I was talking about the transit on Monday, namely Mars square the North Node. The North Node is like, with the North Node being in Aries, you are like, the bullseye is your life purpose. And you are motivated to get there. So many people at this time are waking up to who they are becoming, and what they are meant to do at this time or even in this lifetime, right? But here's the thing. What stands in the way of you actually achieving your life purpose and moving into your North Node is not being authentic. It's not being yourself. And it's not to say that so many people are fake. It's just that so many people do things to fit in. So many people want to be liked. So many people want to be accepted. And perhaps your purpose, what you're here to do, is considered very left field, or maybe it deviates very greatly from what people know you for or what people are accustomed to with respect to you, right? And so living in that truth, living authentically, can be challenging. It can feel isolating. It can feel like you are on this road alone and you don't even know where the road is necessarily leading you to, but you feel motivated to go. And so, Sun trine Uranus, it's almost like things are going to flow together effortlessly to get you to be authentically you, which will get you on the right path to where you need to go. I'll never forget. I always use this as an example, but one of the creators that I follow on YouTube is this woman named Erin Lyons, and she is, a spiritualist. She, speaks light languages. She's a mentor, all this other stuff, right? Young woman, Love her. And she talks about how she met her now fiance, and how, she used to work on Wall Street. She was a stockbroker, so we all know how that life goes, but she like literally speaks to aliens and things like that. And after a while, what ends up happening with your North Node is you can't deny it. You have to live in your truth. Other like spirit will take you kicking and screaming sometimes, but you have to start living your purpose. And as she started living her purpose, she was guided to move. She stopped working on Wall Street, all this other stuff. And so she was guided to go on a dating app. I think it was Tinder maybe. And she put like, I'm a psychic, light language, like all of the weird and kooky things. And she found her person who is all of the weird and kooky things with her, right? And so I say all of that to say that when you are yourself, you attract the people you're meant to attract, people who are truly in alignment with who you are. And this transit, Sun trine Uranus, is in alignment with all of that. And so although you may be called to give a presentation at work, you may be called to maybe speak someplace or do something, doing it as your authentic self is the way to go. And you will see so many more doors open to you because of that. All right. Word to the wise. All right. So that's Thursday. Is that Thursday? Yes. All right. Now we are up to Friday. Let's see what we got going on for Friday. So we've got Sun opposite Neptune. And then we've got Moon in Taurus. So again, I want you to notice how we've got all of these oppositions this week. So at the top of the chart, you will see the Sun at 28 degrees of Virgo. All the way on the opposite side of the chart, you will see Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces. And then if you look to the right, you will see the Moon at 5 degrees of Taurus. Okay, so again, this opposition seesaw kind of energy. So now we've got the Sun in Virgo that is really urging you to be real. That's urging you to take care of your daily responsibilities. Remember, the energy of Virgo is very much detail oriented, and Virgo is very much concerned with our physical body. It's concerned with our daily routines. Essentially, Virgo represents our 3D reality, at least in this instance. So this is where our focus, this is where our consciousness is, right? Of course, it's mid-September. Kids are back in school. People are back to work. You're back to your regularly scheduled program. So this is what's taking up most of your time and your effort, right? That makes sense. Either you're cleaning up, getting organized, doing your work, feeding the kids, doing homework, walking the dog, trying to, exercise, trying to eat well, all of that good stuff, right? Then on the opposite end, we've got Neptune and Pisces. Neptune is at home in Pisces. And Neptune is like, I want you to dream the biggest dream. I want you to live in your imagination. And you're like, but I don't have time. How can I live in my imagination when the dog just vomited on the carpet? I'm late to work. Nobody's picking up the kids from school. I have this presentation next week. Like, how can I do that? Right? Again, this seesaw kind of energy. You have to have a happy medium. Imagination is not kids' play. It's not child's play. Imagination is how you create your reality. And I will say that ad nauseum on this channel. In fact, I have. So you cannot ignore it. Whether it's visualization, whether it's daydreaming, whether it's scripting, whatever it is, you need to give form to your imagination right now. This is super important. And I will explain the importance of this in a few weeks when I do the 2025 yearly astro forecast. I can't believe we're already coming up on that, but Neptune is about to change signs next year. And remember what I said about Pisces energy, because Neptune is currently in Pisces. It's gestation. We are in the final trimester where we are developing fingers and our ears and our legs and our lungs are fully forming and our hearts are fully forming. Because guess what? When Neptune goes into Aries, we are coming through the birth canal and we are going to be here. And guess where here is? It's the imagination that you used to create here. I hope that makes sense. Remember I said before, not that long ago, that everything that you're seeing now is past thoughts, right? So when we make our entrance, when Neptune goes into Aries, what is your reality going to look like? You need to work on that now. That's why I don't care how many responsibilities you have. I don't care what your daily routine is. Take at least 5 minutes every single day and use your imagination for good. Use it for what you want your reality to look like. You want more money? Start dreaming about it. Start scripting it. You want a new boo? Same thing. You want a new car? Same thing. Like, you need to use your imagination. And the sun opposite Neptune is like, listen, I understand you've got daily responsibilities. You've got things in the 3D that you have to take care of, but I need you to use your imagination too. You got to do both. Because guess what? We are spiritual beings, as represented by Neptune and Pisces, having a human experience, as represented by the sun in Virgo. So we got to do both. We're at a point in time in history where it's like, if you're not tapped in spiritually, I'm not even saying just spirituality. It could be spirituality. It could be religion. It could be an ATR. Whatever it is, you have to acknowledge that there is something up here that affects everything down here. And you got to tap into this. If you're not tapped into your spirituality, if you're not using your spiritual gifts, life is going to get increasingly difficult for you. Okay? And so, yes, daily responsibilities, getting our lives together, all that stuff. But dream, imagine, use your imaginative faculties to create your reality, and do not forget that. Okay? And then that same day, the moon will be in Taurus in the waning gibbous phase. All right. Whenever the moon is in Taurus, it's Netflix and chill. It's taking it easy. It's relaxing. It's putting on your favorite sweat, having a nice little snack, taking it easy. Now, the one thing I love about moon in Taurus is not just for the fact that you could be lazy, but it's also for the fact that it can get us into a state of gratitude and appreciation. When you stop and when you're not doing anything, right, you can appreciate what you have. Taurus is all about having and possessing things. When the moon is in Taurus, we feel good about what we have. We are grateful. We're appreciative for what we have, right? And with the waning gibbous phase, it's like, get rid of anything that you're not appreciative of, that you don't want. Anything that doesn't make you feel good, anything that doesn't make you feel comfort or luxury, maybe it's time to go, right? Taurus loves comfort, luxury, feeling good. So anything that's not in alignment with that, you get rid of it when the moon is waning in Taurus. All right, let's keep it moving. So that was Friday. Let's talk about Saturday now. Okay. So Saturday, we've got Mercury square Jupiter. Okay, that's all we've got going on for that day. Let's look at the chart. At the very top of the chart, you will see Jupiter looking like the number 4, and that is at 20 degrees of Gemini. And then on the left-hand side of the chart, you will see Mercury, which is the little purple guy, which is at 20 degrees of Virgo, right? So again, Mercury is in his home sign of Virgo. So our communication, our thoughts, they're really centered on our physical well-being, our daily routine, all of that good stuff, right? Remember, I said Virgo is also very evidentiary. Virgo is very much concerned with what's real, right? What can be proven. Virgo has a very analytical, almost scientific method to it in the way that it communicates, in the way that it thinks, in the way that it operates, right? Jupiter is in a different stratosphere. And Jupiter in Gemini is taking your mind to different places, and higher levels of consciousness. And so, although this isn't an opposition, right? It's not the seesaw kind of energy. Whenever you have a square, you've got two planets at a 90-degree angle. And squares represent tension and frustration. So Jupiter in Gemini wants you to expand, wants your mind to expand, wants to bring you to higher levels of consciousness. But Mercury in Virgo was like, but wait, we've got to focus on what's directly in front of us. It may be hard to think of it may be hard to think from a place of a higher level of consciousness when you can't necessarily see those things, when they're not necessarily tangible, when they require a certain level of faith in the unseen. Mercury in Virgo is not necessarily comfortable with that because Mercury is like in Virgo is like, listen, I need to focus on what is in front of me, right? What can be proven, what there is evidence of. So with this, it's not, like I said, it's not an opposition. So there's no seesaw kind of energy. However, you can do both, right? You can focus on what's in front of you, yet you can also be intentional about raising your level of consciousness. You can also see things from a higher vantage point. You're not just limited to what's directly in front of you. And so you'll want to be intentional about that by the end of the week, right? Don't shut anything down or discredit anything just because you don't necessarily have evidence of it. Maybe you need to attune yourself to a higher frequency where you will find evidence of it or where it will be clearer to you. Okay. And also on the flip side, because Jupiter in Gemini is so expansive and Virgo, particularly Mercury in Virgo, likes to compartmentalize everything. Especially when it comes to things of a spiritual nature or an esoteric nature, you don't necessarily need to put them in a neat little box because spirituality doesn't always fit into a neat little box. Everything isn't going to be methodical. Everything isn't going to be evidentiary, and that is okay. And that is by design. So allow yourself to raise your level of consciousness while at the same time not trying to put everything in a neat little box. And that will be a good way to make your way through this particular transit. All right. And now finally we get to Sunday with a lot going on Sunday. So we've got the sun moving into Libra. We've got Venus moving into Scorpio. Venus will square Pluto. Sun will trine Pluto. And then the moon will move into Gemini. All right. Let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right. So at the upper right-hand corner, we've got Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Thereafter, we've got towards the bottom right-hand portion of the chart, you'll see Venus at 0 degrees of Scorpio. You will see the sun at 0 degrees of Libra. Thereafter, on the right-hand portion of the chart, you will see the moon at 9 degrees of Gemini. Is that 9 or 8 degrees? I can't really tell, but yeah, it'll be in Gemini nonetheless. All right, so let's discuss. So first, sun moving into Libra, heralding Libra season. I mentioned this before. So for the next couple of weeks, once the sun moves into Libra, it is really all about balance and finding balance in our lives, right? Especially in relationships. Now, the dichotomy of Libra, the axis of Libra includes Aries. Aries is me, Libra is we, and finding a balance between the two is important because relationships are really a reflection of us. And so when we immerse ourselves in our relationships, it's like, how would I put this? When we immerse ourselves in relationships, imagine looking in the mirror and you need to fix your hair, but instead of fixing your hair like on your head, you're like trying to fix it in the mirror. You're like, oh, let me fix it over here. Meanwhile, nothing's happening because you're not actually fixing the hair on your head. That's what happens when you immerse yourself in relationships and you don't leave room to immerse yourself in yourself. And so Libra season gives us the opportunity to find that balance. Libra is also very social. And so Libra season tends to be a time where people can be a little more social. I think Virgo season really has us getting back to our regularly scheduled programming. So we're all kind of really just doing mundane kind of things. And then by the time we get to Libra season, it is now the fall. People have really settled back into work, school, and all of that stuff. And now it's time to be more social. And so I like Libra energy for that. It fosters being social, talking to people, friendship, relationships, all that good stuff. And we've got Venus moving into Scorpio, which is going to make things extremely intense. Okay. So Venus is not comfortable in Scorpio. Venus rules Taurus and Libra, right? And Venus loves pretty things, a pretty aesthetic. right? Taurus is a little superficial because Taurus loves things, especially luxury things, pretty things, right? Makeup, food, stuff like that. Then we've got Libra. Libra likes to keep the peace. Libra likes everyone to get along. Libra likes, you know, working together and not so confrontational. So Venus likes pretty superficial things. You put Venus in a sky in a sign like Scorpio. Scorpio is like the underworld, the depths of the ocean. I saw this post. Someone had posted this video on Instagram the other day about these like new creatures they found at the bottom of the ocean. Girl, that shit is scary. So scary. You've got like octopi with like sharp shark teeth and big bulbous eyes and fish that are like crooked and they're like 10 feet tall. Like it's so weird, right? Things that go bump in the night are very much part of the Scorpio energy signature. Okay. Scorpio likes the real, the raw, the dirty. You put Venus in Scorpio, Venus is like, ew, I don't want to touch anything. Ew, that's really ugly. I don't want to sit down. That looks really dirty. Right. So Venus, not comfortable in Scorpio. However, Venus in Scorpio gives you the opportunity to take love and relationships to a deeper, more substantive level. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you got to sift through some of the dirt. Not everything can be beautiful all of the time. And Venus in Scorpio definitely understands that. And so when it comes to issues of love, relationships, money, even communicating with people, right? Fairness and equity, all of those Venusian kind of things, they're going to get intense because maybe you're going to see the ugly side of them, right? What is the phrase? Money is the root of all evil. And side note, that's not even the correct phrase. The correct phrase is the love of money is the root of all evil, right? That's kind of Venus and Scorpio, right? Showing you the ugly side of money, showing you the ugly side of love and relationships. In relationships, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, Pluto is like manipulation, power struggles, control issues, jealousy, obsession, possessiveness, those things in relationships that are not necessarily healthy, but are definitely sometimes parts of relationships. Anytime we've got Scorpio energy, Scorpio requires you to dig deep under the surface to see things for how they really are, to see where the rot is so that you can eradicate it. And in that eradication, you transform. Venus and Scorpio, although uncomfortable, can really transform your relationships and your money if you are willing to go under the surface and get a little dirty. All right. I'm thinking of doing a separate video on Venus and Scorpio for the signs, for all of the signs. So you guys really know what to expect. It's one of my favorite Venus transits. So let me know if you would like a video on that. And I will work on that ASAP. Okay. All right. Now, while both the Sun and Venus are changing signs, they are going to make aspects to Pluto as they do. So the Sun is going to be trining Pluto as it moves from Virgo to Libra. Okay. And when you have the Sun trine Pluto, this is a positive I'm not even going to say a positive opportunity. This is transformation for the better. And this transformation may have a lot to do with your personality, with your ego. Okay. Um the sun will be at 29 degrees of Virgo. Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So the practical side of your personality, the practical side of your ego, right? Just how you shine, how you show up in the world has the ability to transform in a very positive sort of way. Now, since since Virgo has a lot to do with like our physical health, this could be a day when you have more energy, like physical energy, perhaps when you are feeling healthier or at least have the urge to either eat healthier, exercise more, all of that stuff. Either way, this is personal transformation at your fingertips. All right. So that's definitely going to be a good thing. And then the not so good thing is that Venus is going to square Pluto before it goes into Scorpio. So Venus will be at 29 degrees of Libra. Pluto will be at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And so Venus in Libra, very much about relationships, right? Could be about being immersed in relationships where Pluto in Capricorn, okay, perfect example. Let's say you have a type when it comes to relationships. There's a certain type of person that you like. And let's say that this type is toxic. Okay. You love a really beautiful, handsome man who's flashy and out there, but is likely a cheater and all over the place. Or maybe you like that really hot chick, right? But she's for the streets. Okay. Toxic all around for either of those situations. But that's your type. Okay. Venus square Pluto is going to show you how that type is really not serving you anymore. And how it is time to move on, right? Especially if you like someone that's flashy and out there, maybe it's time for you to get someone who stays home a little more, right? Someone who's a little less flashy and more substantive. Either way, Venus square Pluto is transforming your relationships in an uncomfortable sort of way, right? Maybe you get played by the dog and pony show dude, right? For the umpteenth time. Or maybe the hot chick is really a gold digger and she robs you, right? Not so comfortable, but it definitely opens your eyes to the fact that these type of relationships are not for you. Transformation. Transformation of Venusian things. So it's not just relationships, it could also be money. And I mean, these are extreme examples, right? But Venus in Libra also has a lot to do with fairness, especially fairness in relationships. Remember the example I gave you before about fixing your hair in the mirror rather than fixing it on your head. That's what it's like when you immerse yourself in relationships without giving yourself that kind of attention, right? That fairness, that issue of fairness and reciprocity may really fly in your face at this time. So you can see that maybe you've been doing yourself a disservice. Maybe you haven't been paying enough attention to yourself. The love that you so want from others, you need to be giving it to yourself first. And the universe is going to show this to you in a not so comfortable kind of way. But it's those not so comfortable kind of situations that the universe likes to dole out to us every so often that gets us to change. And Pluto is all about change and transformation. All right. And then finally, we have the moon moving into Gemini. And so you're going to feel like you have ants in your pants. Anytime the moon is in Gemini, you want to do the most. You want to be out there. You're talking to people. It's likely a very busy time. But understand that the moon is going to be in the waning phase. And when the moon is in the waning phase, you're getting rid of what no longer serves you. Right. And so when it comes to things like Gemini, anything that you're not learning from is likely something that you don't need to give your attention to right now. But either way, Moon in Gemini, it's going to make Sunday and into next week feel very busy, lots of activity, lots of talking, ants in your pants. Okay. And that is how we end the week. I told you, lots going on, but also very important. Okay. So again, if you want to know more about the eclipse, link to that video is in the description box below. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this coming week and beyond. And I will see you in my next video. All right, my loves, have an amazing week. Take care.